probably the most gifted communicator I have ever seen. And one of his most amazing feats is that in his live seminars, he is able to take people from feeling depressed to empowered in just one conversation. And he's able to give them the tools so that they can stay there long after the event ends. So in this video, we are going to talk about just one of the techniques that Tony uses to accomplish this. It's called a state break, and that is anything that you can do to shift someone from one emotion to another. It sounds simple, but if you can master this skill, your ability to help other people, to persuade, and to live a more fulfilled life goes through the roof. So let's begin.
Feels really depressed. Raise your hand. Give him a microphone, please. Give him a hand. He's really depressed, for God's sakes. What's your name?
Tony starts with a surprise-based state break, and it works because normally when people say that they're dealing with depression, the immediate response they get is advice or sensitivity, but never applause. And unfortunately, those well-intentioned pieces of advice often can serve to reinforce that depressed state because it's the millionth time that that person has heard it. So if you want to help people break out of a negative emotion, whether it's depression, fear, or anger, one of the best things that you can do initially is give them the opposite response of what they expect. For instance, one time I was upset and I was complaining to a buddy, and right while he was acting sympathetic, saying, interesting, he started throwing grapes right at my head. I got pelted right in the forehead and immediately started laughing and throwing them back at him, which put me in a much better mood and eventually helped me to move past my upset feeling. In this clip though, surprise didn't totally break Bob's negative state, which is possible, so Tony continues.
Bob.
Bob, where are you from?
Seattle.
That's why you're depressed.
I know. It's all the rain.
You see here some simple canned humor. Now, humor is one of the best ways to break someone's negative state because when something is funny, it is so hard not to laugh. Tony has a number of prepared lines that he knows work extremely well in these very heavy situations. Often he'll joke that people are depressed because of where they're from, and other times he'll tease them for their fashion sense, which is what you see at the beginning of the Netflix documentary, I Am Not Your Guru.
I don't find a way out.
What makes you hate yourself? Is it the red shoes?
What?
Is it the red shoes?
No.
Are you sure? Because they're fucking red. Don't you be smiling like that. You'll fuck everything up.
You see reverse psychology at the end of that clip, and it's another one of Tony Robbins' state breaks. By the way, I highly recommend checking out that documentary. It's fantastic. Now, the reverse psychology state break works particularly well with people that are primed to fight you, as is often the case with depressed people who feel that they've already heard everything. They've become so tired of people trying to crack them that sometimes they purposely resist every piece of advice, even if it's really good. So when Tony tells them to go back into depression because they're ruining it, they find their own resistance working to help them.
Rain.
All that rain, darkness. You're ruining this depression thing by laughing.
That's why I know.
Yeah, please go back to that depression state. Thank you.
And then another state break is just the lighthearted reframe. And that's joking that this obviously difficult separation might actually have something to celebrate.
Are you really depressed right now?
Yeah, I just, my wife just filed for divorce yesterday.
I understand.
So.
Are you sure there's not a part of you that's not ready to go? Yay!
There might be.
To be clear, the lighthearted reframe works because Tony doesn't simply say, hey, look on the bright side of things and then proceed to give rational advice. He makes it into a joke, does a little cheer, and exaggerates how excited Bob might feel at the prospect of divorce. Now, Tony continues to bounce back and forth between these types of state breaks and gets Bob in and out of a lightly depressed state at least 5 times. He establishes a pattern of snapping Bob out of depression as soon as he goes into it, so it's becoming harder and harder for Bob to maintain that state, just out of habit. But Tony knows that there won't always be an audience to laugh with Bob. He is going to be alone at some point without support. So Tony needs to teach Bob to snap out of even the most depressed states, and he needs to teach him to do it on his own. So once Tony feels that Bob is ready, after several state breaks, he'll quiet the audience and direct Bob to focus intensely on his depression.
I need you to get like at that level 9 depression, okay? Because I'm not good at this, and I need you as a role model to teach me. You nod when you're at 9. Go to 9.5.
Tony's objective here is for Bob to make the depression as bad as it can get so that he can break him out of it. And you can see here by Bob's body language that in this moment, he's deeper in depression than he has been for the entire interaction. His face is turned downward and he lets out this big sigh. But Tony's going to continue to push this feeling even further by asking Bob what he is focusing on and even having him beat himself up like he does in his own head.
And what do you say to yourself while you're in this state to be at a depression at 9.5?
It's my fault.
What else do you say to yourself? Say it the way you say it when you're most depressed. Say it in that same tone of voice.
I really f***ed up.
Now remember, Tony is doing this because he wants to show Bob that he's capable of snapping out of even his most depressive spells, which is why he took Bob to the lowest that he's been. To get him out, he has to bring out some seriously big state breaks. He's going to have Bob focus on one of the most opposite experiences of depression that is possibly imaginable. So watch.
Now let me ask you a different question. Have you ever had a great orgasm?
Sure.